Hey class, welcome to week one. Um, and for those of you that get in early to watch these tutorials, it's great. You can also reply to earn credit for a participation post by replying and saying you watched the tutorial. And I'll go over more about how you do per day in this class. So first off, I strictly go by the participation policy that's set out by GCU so that everybody's graded on an even playing field. So it's not like I'm going to grade this student based off effort A versus effort B. So everyone's graded by the GCU requirements. Okay, so I'm going to go over that. The only thing that the instructors add is what's the word count and what they're looking for in the word count and all that. So let me go ahead and go over that in this tutorial. So part of the policy is the word count. Um, your posts have to be over 100 words, so I always say 100 to 150 words. Don't go under 100, but if you decide to go over 150, that's fine. 100 to 150 word is perfect. It allows you to elaborate on your what you're replying to. And it also gives you an opportunity to engage in academic conversation. Okay. Um, Replies of participation is to your peers. So answering DQ1 and DQ2 do not count for participation. Those are separately graded assignments. DQ1's worth 5 points, DQ2's worth 5 points. Participation's worth 20 points. Okay, so those are separate. So it's not DQ and then one reply. It's if you're going to get a DQ in today, like DQ1 in today, if you want to earn participation, you still got to get 2 replies to your classmates. Okay. Um, Also, when you reply to my video tutorials, it also can count for participation. I make it really simple. I always encourage students to go in on early as Monday and watch my tutorials. If you reply to my weekly Monday video of me talking about what's coming up and some advice about the week, if you reply and say, I watched it, you don't even have to write 100 words. Just say, I watched it, you get credit. If you see a video tutorial in there the same day on that Monday, and it's like regarding the Sunday due assignment, if you watch it, reply with a question or just say, I watched it, you can get credit for a participation post. So the reason why I say go in as early as Monday is because if you go in on Monday and watch those 2 tutorials and reply, that's 1 day of participation. So you just got a good head start. And the reason why I give that benefit to students to make participation a little bit easier on your schedule is it relates not only to participation, but more so it gives you an opportunity to watch something that's academically irrelevant for that week that's going to help you with an assignment or advice that's coming up. Okay, so make sure you do that. Most students, I can tell if they've watched the tutorials, because on Sunday when they submit the assignment, I grade it the next week. I can tell if a student watched the tutorials or not. It's pretty clear. There's some do nots that you don't want to do in your participation replies. So when you reply to your peer, don't just repeat back what your classmate said. Okay. Um, don't quote. Questions are encouraged, but they do not count. Okay. And let me explain these 3. So when you reply and say thank you, I agree, and then you restate everything that your classmate just said, that's not going to count. Those words are not going to count. All right, you're just saying you agree to something that they say. You can say I agree and state what you agree with, but go on in the conversation over 100 words stating something. Okay. Some of the best advice I give is point things out from the weekly reading material that you want to talk about. You don't have to wait for your classmates to say something interesting for you to reply to. You can change the direction of the conversation as long as it's something within the study material or that weekly content that we're using. Okay, just like with DQs, same thing with participation. Don't quote. This isn't quoting. If you do quote, make sure you cite. Make sure you also know that the quotes do not, and the citation does not count towards the word count. Never does, not even on essays. Okay. And the reason why I say I encourage questions but do not count them is because in the past students would just reply and go over 100 words with questions or all questions and nothing to contribute to the conversation. So you can ask questions, but they're not going to count towards the participation policy reply. So for per day, so a lot of students know the policy is 2 posts per day on 3 separate days. So if you are posting just 6 posts for the week, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get full credit. Okay, so it's 2 posts per day. Only posts over 100 words will count unless you're replying to my tutorials. All right. If you're not sure, you can ask me in a private forum, hey, if I reply to this in DQ1 or 2, does it count towards participation? I can quickly reply and let you know. Again, you have to follow 2 per day, okay? 6 posts done in a week does not guarantee full credit. So and I'm going to go over some examples right now, some visual examples of what I look at in the gradebook. So if you get 6 posts in a week and you get 0 points, it's because you didn't follow 2 per day. It's going to be that I'm that strict with this up front, so it's uniform, so everybody's graded by the same policy. Okay. So you can also get it 2 per day in either DQ. So sometimes students will say, can I go do I have to do 6 in DQ1 and 6 in DQ2? No. It's not like that. It's 2 per day. It ends up being 6 at the end of the day, but when students hear, all I got to do is get 6 posts, that doesn't necessarily mean you're in full credit. Let me go ahead and go over some of the examples for you. This is just some of the screenshots I took from the gradebook, minus people's names. This is something from classes way back in the day. I just want to make sure. So as you see here, Monday was June 22nd. So I guess it wasn't too long ago because that was a few months ago maybe. And so when you looked at, this is Monday, this is Sunday, June 28th, Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so on and so forth. Now, when you look at this, you'll see total posts and then substantive posts. So I don't have up here where it shows me total posts, but this student has 3, 6, 9, 12 posts. So a student can say, well, I have 12 posts, did I earn full credit? Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you earn full credit. But in my grade book, I look at next to these two, this is saying for me, 2 of these 3 posts were substantive. So that student earned 1 day of participation credit. Okay. Now in this class, it's 3 days of posting, not 4, but this student did 4. Maybe they're used to doing 4, and that's okay. But what I'm going to show you some other examples. But the reason why you see 3 posts in this day and only 2 were counted for participation is because maybe the 3rd post is a DQ, because they're not going to count for participation. There's no substantive button on a DQ answer in my grade when I'm looking at grades to click on substantive, only on participation posts, and that's why they come up here as a number in the parentheses. Okay, same thing here. Also, it also could mean, because if you see I have 3 in this grade book, I have 3 posts on each day and all 2s on the substantive. That means either some of them are DQs or there was a post put in there that wasn't counted for participation because it didn't meet the requirements. Okay, so this student did above and beyond. They did 4 days of posting instead of 3, and so they got full credit. You know, you can scratch this off because they would have earned full credit on just these 3 days here. Notice there's 2 posts here, 2 posts on this day, and 2 posts on this day. That's 3 separate days. Okay. The next example is this. So here's another student that earned full credit. Okay. Now there are 3 substantive posts in this one day on the 24th, but that doesn't mean a student has 3 posts that day. That just means a student earned at least points for 1 day because they got at least 2 substantive posts in that day. So they earned full credit because they at least got 2 here, and they got 2 and 2. Okay, now the single post here doesn't earn anything because, of course, they already earned participation. But you'll see in a second that 1 post of substantive posts in a day doesn't earn any post because you need a second reply to actually earn credit for that day. So this student here only got 2 days of posting in, okay? So they're only going to earn, like in this class, you know, what I do is I break it up by 7s pretty much. I know it's 20 points, so if you earn 2 days of participation, you should see 14 points in your grade book. All right, now, obviously the student has 6 posts, right, substantive posts, but that doesn't mean they earn full credit because they didn't follow 2 per day on 3 separate days. They got 4 posts on this date on the 3rd, but that doesn't mean that they have 4 posts. That just means they have 1 day of participation. So just look at it as 2 posts, substantive posts in the same day unlocks 7 points of participation. Okay. Same thing with this one here. They only got credit for 2 days of participation because they only got 2 replies here and 2 replies there. Final example here is this one. They have 2 replies here with no posts counted for substantive, and they got 1 post here with none, and then they have on the 27th they have 2 replies with 1 counting, and then they have 1 post with 1 counting. So the student wouldn't earn any posts, any credit. They'd earn a 0. Okay, because of course some of these are probably DQ. At least 2 of these are DQ somewhere. But there's no posts there's no days where they had 2 substantive replies in the same day. So if the student wanted to earn points for this day here, they would have gotten the second reply put in here, and they would have given them at least 7 points in this class. Same thing with June 27th. If this student would have had the second post counted and you would of participation, then it would have been counted as another 7 points. Okay, and then of course there's only 6 points left to earn. So I usually give the benefit of the doubt of points, the leniency on the front end of getting the first 2 days so that you get at least 7 points per day. And then of course that 3rd day would give you the 6 points for the 20. If that makes sense. Okay, so that's pretty much the examples that I would give. I know this tutorial is a little bit long, but it's worth it because a lot of students get confused on the policy of the participation. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I know this can look very confusing, but just note that a substantive reply is only credited for points if it's 2 per day. Okay, so again, if you get only 1 reply here and you're like, well, why didn't I get any points? I have 2 replies here. That doesn't mean anything. You have to get 2 per day. So it's got to follow 2, 2, and 2. So if you have any questions, please let me know.